Greetings friends and welcome back to Recon by Fire. For today's match we have Thomas piloting his Tyranids running the Vanguard Onslaught detachment. He's bringing a winged Tyranid Prime with Hunting Grounds enhancement, a winged Hive Tyrant with Chameleonic enhancement, 3 Broodlords, each leading a squad of 10 Gene Stealers, a Biovore, 2 Lictors, 2 Neurolictors, 6 Tyranid Warriors, and 3 Exocrine. The Grey Knights are running the new Warp Bane Task Force detachment, and they are led by, of course, Castellan Crowe, leading a 10-man squad of Purifiers, 2 5-man Purifier Squads, 1 Terminator squad, 2 Brotherhood Techmarines flying solo, a Grandmaster NDK, 3 NDKs, a Callidus Assassin, and because the detachment just came out, these are our strike squad for today. For today's battle, deployment is Crucible of Battle, mission is the Ritual, and mission rule is Swift Action. Hey folks, Caesar here. Just wanted to give you a heads up that you are going to see some dropped frames, unfortunately, for the first round or two, as we were trying a different camera setup with an additional camera, and the recording computer could not handle it. So I did catch it and end up dropping the camera, so we go back to our regular quality of footage, but just wanted to give you the heads up. Thank you guys again for watching. Really appreciate you. Tyranids have quite a few scouts to perform. They start off by moving the Gene Stealers up against the wall. Second squad of Gene Stealers will do the absolute same. Final squad will move as far forward as it can. Top of round 1, and the Tyranids are going first. They will draw Area Denial and Overwhelming Force as their secondaries for the turn. Start of movement, and the Lictor will push on to the center objective. Gene Stealers get a solid 6 on their advance and make it from one wall to the other. Neurolictor will position itself to make an objective thanks to the Ritual. Warriors will simply reposition behind Obscuring. Exocrine will move forward slightly. Exocrine moves forward to get line of sight across the center of the board. Final Exocrine will stage to back up the Gene Stealers. Gene Stealers are rolling hot on the advance today and make it all the way to point blank range on the Purifiers. Grey Knights will fire Overwatch with the 5-man Purifier Squad, and they manage to pick up 3 Gene Stealers. Biovore will drop a Spore Mine to deny any teleporting shenanigans. Gene Stealers dual charge both the Purifiers and the NDK. All the attacks go into the Purifiers, and they easily scoop them up. They then consolidate into both NDKs. The Dreadknights will fight back, 1 at a -1 to hit thanks to the Overlord debuff, and they manage to pick up 7 Gene Stealers. That's going to end the turn for the Tyranids. They'll score 5 points for Area Denial and discard Overwhelming Force for a command point. At the end of the turn, Grey Knights will pick up the Callidus Assassin, 5-man Purifier Squad, the squad of Terminators, and the lone Dreadknight. Bottom of round 1, and the Grey Knights will draw Secure No Man's Land and Recover Assets as their secondaries for the turn. Start of the movement phase, and the Nemesis Dreadknight will fall back towards the center of the board. Grandmaster NDK will move forward. Dreadknight will fall back, and Castellan Crowe's squad will move towards the Broodlord. Techmarine moves forward to recover assets. Time for reinforcement, and thanks to the Winged Tyranid Prime, anything that arrives from reserves has to make a Battle Shock test. The Callidus will arrive and fails their leadership check. Thanks to the positioning of the Broodlord, the Purifier Squad will have to spend a command point on Hallowed Beacon to arrive in position to make an objective. They unfortunately do fail the leadership check and are battle shocked, so cannot make an objective this turn. Terminators are blocked out by the Spore Mine and will screen out the home objective from the Gene Stealers. NDK arrives more or less in the same place it left. Start of the shooting phase, Crowe and company will make short work of the remaining Gene Stealers. Terminators blow up the Spore Mine, and that is going to end the turn for the Grey Knights. They will hold on to recover assets until the end of the next turn and discard Secure No Man's Land since they did not make an objective. At the end of the turn, Tyranids will spend the Hive Tyrant's free stratagem on Invisible Hunter, picking up the Lictor and the Warrior Squad. Top of round 2 for the Tyranids, they will draw Defend Stronghold and Assassination. They'll use new orders on Assassination, drawing Sabotage instead. They control 2 points in No Man's Land and will score 10 points on Primary. Start of the movement phase, the Lictor will reposition to perform the Sabotage action and screen out any deep strikes. Exocrine will reposition to improve its line of fire down to center. Gene Stealers do not want to tussle with the Terminators and will simply snuggle up to the wall. Exocrine will come out to cover the objective. Lictor will reposition near the Hive Tyrant. Second Lictor will move and create an objective. Tyranids will continue to screen out the backfield. Final Lictor will reposition to get the Purifiers in its aura. Start of the shooting phase, and the Exocrine will unload on the exposed Purifiers. They do spend a command point on a reroll, manage to pick up 4 of them, leaving only 1 remaining. In a top tier play, the Spore Mine will go on the center of the board, screening out any movement onto the center objective. That is going to end the turn for the Tyranids. They will hold on to both Defend Stronghold and Sabotage until the end of the next turn. Grey Knights will complete Recover Assets and score 3 points. Callidus Assassin comes up, Crowe's squad will go into the warp, Grandmaster will bamf as well. The Techmarine decides to tag along. Bottom of round 2 for the Grey Knights, and they will draw Extend Battle Lines and Behind Enemy Lines as their secondaries for the turn. They control 0 objectives in No Man's Land and will score 0 on primary. Start of the movement phase, and the Nemesis Dreadknight will trigger the Spore Mine to explode and get line of sight on the Exocrine. It will score 2 mortals on the NDK, and the Lictor will reactive move to the other side of the objective. The Lone Purifier will move forward and successfully create an objective this time. NDK will get line of sight on the Exocrine. Terminators will move forward as far as their little legs can take them. Grandmaster will line up a shot with the same Exocrine. Techmarine will screen out the backfield. Second Techmarine will do the same. Callidus will arrive behind the Terminators just in case she needs to Vec the Gene Stealers, and yes, she is still battle shocked. So a bit of a mistake here. We did play this detachment the day after it came out, so we weren't quite 100% on it. Crowe and Purifiers came down in the backfield to stop defend, but we did not realize that they don't bring the aura or hallowed ground with them, and so they would have had to be on the board before they can do the 6-inch deep strike here. At the end of movement, the Tyranids will rapid ingress the Lictor. Start of the shooting, and the first NDK will fire into the Exocrine, knocking off 4 wounds. Second Dreadknight will split fire, pulling the Psilencer into the Lictor, taking it down to just 1 wound remaining, and the Psycannon into the Exocrine, failing to score a wound. Third NDK did not toe in on the template, so cannot see the Lictor, and will fire everything into the Exocrine, leaving it at 7 wounds remaining. Purifiers are going to attempt to target the Lictor, and using the Hive Tyrant's free CP ability, they're going to use Unseen Lurkers to reduce the lone op to 6 inches, preventing them from shooting at it. They'll readjust, firing into the Gene Stealers and the Biovore. They take down 3.5 Gene Stealers and leave the Biovore at 4 wounds remaining. Purifiers have the burner reroll, turning a 5 into a 7, but they do make it into the Biovore and onto the point. Terminators, Grandmaster NDK, and NDK all fail their charges into their targets. Purifiers will easily pick up the Biovore and they'll consolidate onto the objective. That is going to end the turn for the Grey Knights. They'll score 3 points for behind enemy lines and 5 points for extending battle lines. They do deny Defend Stronghold to the Tyranids, but the Tyranids will still score Sabotage for 3 points. Top of round 3 for the Tyranids, they held on to Defend Stronghold and will draw Recover Assets as their secondaries for the turn. They control 3 objectives in No Man's Land and will score 15 points on primary. Start of the movement phase, and Purifier Squad will activate Fires of the Covenant, dealing mortals to anyone that gets inside of 6 inches at the end of their movement. Exocrine will make the charge from the NDK tougher, but stay outside of 6 of the Purifiers. Winged Hive Tyrant moves in and suffers 1 mortal. Gene Stealers move in, staying behind the wall to avoid Overwatch, but suffer 2 mortals, losing a dude. Lictor will move in, suffering 3 mortals. Second Lictor moves in and takes 3 mortals. Neuro Lictor will move off the center objective. Purifiers will then fire Overwatch and manage to scoop up a Lictor. In hindsight, we do believe this was a mistake, as having the 2 CP to interrupt was probably going to be stronger. Lastly, Exocrine gets a line on Crowe. Warriors will arrive at a deep strike to recover assets. Start of the shooting phase, and the Exocrine fires into the NDK, failing to score a wound. Exocrine into Crowe's squad, picking up 3 Purifiers. Final Exocrine fires into the same squad, picking up an additional 3. Lictor will make its charge into the squad. Broodlord and the Gene Stealers make it in. Hive Tyrant will burn a command point on a reroll, but makes it all the way around to the backside. On to the fight phase, and the Tyrant, the Lictor, and the Gene Stealers rip Crowe and company to shreds. That is going to end the turn for the Tyranids. They will hold on to both Recover Assets and Defend Stronghold until the end of the next turn. At the end of the turn, the Grey Knights will pick up the Strike Squad, the Squad of Terminators, the NDK, and the Battle-Shocked Callidus. Bottom of round 3 for the Grey Knights, they will draw Defend Stronghold and Assassination as their secondaries for the turn. They control 1 objective in No Man's Land and will score 5 points on primary. Start of the movement phase, and the NDK will go after the 2 Exocrine. Tyranids will reactive move the Gene Stealers and the Lictor using the Hive Tyrant's free stratagem. Grandmaster NDK goes after the Lictor on the center objective. Third Dreadknight will follow its brothers into the fray. Strikes will arrive, making an objective hidden behind the building. Callidus Assassin will arrive just off of the objective to make sure that the Tyranids cannot deep strike onto it. Terminators will block out the Gene Stealers again. Final NDK arrives in the backfield, hoping to take down Assassinate and deny primary. Start of the shooting phase, and due to its base size, the NDK is not wholly within hallowed ground and will not get the full re-rolls. The Lictor has stealth and a 4-up invul, so they decided to try to take it out in melee and will shoot everything into the Warrior Squad. It manages to pick up 4 of the warriors, but let us know in the comments down below if you think this was the wrong play. Grandmaster scoops up the Lictor. Dreadknights double team the Exocrine and manage to pick it up. Moving on to charges, and the NDK in the corner fails both attempts at the charge into the Lictor. NDK makes its charge into the wounded Exocrine. Greathammer does just enough wounds to take down the Exocrine. That's going to end the turn for the Grey Knights. They will discard Assassination for a command point and hold on to Defend Stronghold until the end of the next turn. At the end of the turn, Tyranids will pick up the Lictor using the Hive Tyrant's free stratagem. They'll score 3 points for defending their stronghold and 3 points for recovering assets. Grey Knights have selected War of Attrition as their secret mission. Top of turn 4 for the Tyranids, and they will draw behind enemy lines and extend battle lines as their secondaries for the turn. They control 2 objectives and will score 10 points on primary. Start of the movement phase, and the Hive Tyrant will go after the NDK. Avoiding the Overwatch, the Gene Stealers will snuggle up against the wall. Warriors move in on the NDK in the backfield. The Lictor will get in as well. Gene Stealers go after the center objective and the Grandmaster. Near Lictor will move towards the center as well. Exocrine fires into the Nemesis Dreadknight, bringing it down to just 4 wounds remaining. Moving on to charges, and the Gene Stealers will make theirs into the NDK. Hive Tyrant will manage to get in there as well. Warriors make the charge into the Dreadknight that is not long for this world. The Lictor is in. And finally, the Gene Stealers make it onto the center objective and the Grandmaster. Start of the fight phase, and each Broodlord is going to make the NDKs -1 to hit. And the Hive Tyrant is going to attempt to steal an attack from the NDK, unfortunately failing and suffering 3 mortals for its troubles. Tyranids make the correct play and attack with the Hive Tyrant first. They'll use its free stratagem to force a battle shock test, and the NDK will pass. It manages to strike into it and leave it at 4 wounds remaining. That was the hopeful interrupt target, but since it is now bracketed, they will switch over and interrupt with the Grandmaster that manages to pick up 2 Gene Stealers. They will crack back, bringing the Grandmaster down to just 5 wounds remaining. Warriors and company make very short work of the NDK wounded in the corner. Final Broodlord and company will hack into the NDK. They do manage to take it down, but it does deadly demise, taking a Gene Stealer with it and putting 2 mortals on the Hive Tyrant. That's going to end the turn for the Tyranids. They will discard behind enemy lines for a command point and score 5 points for extending battle lines. Grey Knights will score 3 points for successfully defending their stronghold. Assassin will remain on the board to finally lose its battle shock, but the Techmarine will bamf out. Lone Purifier will follow suit, and the other Techmarine. Bottom of round 4, and the Grey Knights will draw overwhelming force and no prisoners as their secondaries for the turn. They control 2 objectives and will score 10 points on primary. Strikes will sticky the objective. Start of the movement phase, and the Terminators are going to back up the Grandmaster on the center of the board. Callidus moves the Vect onto the Gene Stealers. NDK moves to avenge its brethren. Strikes move forward to sticky a second objective. Lone Purifier will come down to give hollowed ground to the NDK. Techmarine gets the line of sight on the Gene Stealers. With no secondaries to perform, the last Techmarine arrives in the backfield. Everything that came in this turn has to make a battle shock test, and only the Purifier will fail it. Tyranids will use rapid ingress on the lone Lictor in the backfield. Start of the shooting phase, and the NDK is going to split fire, sending the Psycannon into the Exocrine, and thanks to a CP reroll, it takes no wounds, and the Psilencer into the Gene Stealers, picking up all of them and leaving the Broodlord wounded. Grandmaster fires into combat, picks up 2 more Gene Stealers. On to charges, and the Dreadknight will make its double charge into the Broodlord and the Hive Tyrant. Terminators into the Gene Stealers, and they're in. Start of the fight phase, the Broodlords make the Terminators and the NDK -1 to hit. The Hive Tyrant makes the Terminators 1 less attack. Dreadknight sends all of its attacks into the Hive Tyrant. It'll use a command reroll to stay alive. Terminators into the Gene Stealers, and they manage to pick up the entire squad and leave the Broodlord at just 2 wounds remaining. Ongoing combat and the Broodlord will take down a Terminator. Grandmaster will finish off the Broodlord. The 1-2 punch from the Hive Tyrant and the Broodlord bring the NDK down to just 2 wounds remaining. That's going to end the turn for the Grey Knights. It didn't play out the way they wanted to, but still a very strong turn, scoring 5 points for overwhelming force and 5 points for no prisoners. Top of round 5 for the Tyranids, they will draw Engage on all fronts and Cleanse as their secondaries for the turn. They control 2 objectives and will score 10 points on primary. Broodlord will fall back towards the Purifier, making it a 6-inch charge. Grandmaster will fire Overwatch, scoring a wound but failing to take it down. Lictor moves towards the center objective. The Exocrine will remain in place for heavy, and the Warriors plus Lictor will spread out, screening out the backfield. Hive Tyrant will fall back towards the center, spreading out its sweet aura. Tyranids skip shooting due to Cleanse and will go straight into charges. Grey Knights will do -2 to charge on the Broodlord, but it manages to make it in anyways to the lone Purifier. Hive Tyrant will make its charge into the NDK. Tyranids spend a command point to force the Battle Shock, and the NDK will fail. Tyrant slashes into the NDK. It uses its free stratagem for a reroll, and it proves to be enough to take the big guy down. Broodlord into the Purifier, and he picks him up. He will consolidate onto the objective. That is going to end the turn for the Tyranids. They'll score the full 4 points on Engage on all fronts and 4 points for Cleanse. Strong turn. At the end of the turn, Grey Knights pick up the Strike Squad, both Techmarines, and the Callidus Assassin. Last turn of the game, and the Grey Knights will draw Bring It Down and Cleanse as their secondaries for the turn. In the command phase, Tyranids will call Shadows in the Warp. The Grandmaster will succeed, but the Terminators will fail. They still do regenerate a model. Strikes will arrive from Deep Strike on the Tyranid home objective, scoring them the secret mission. They do succeed their Battle Shock test. The Techmarine arrives from the Warp to perform the Cleanse action, but unfortunately fails its Battle Shock test. Second Techmarine will attempt the same thing and does succeed its leadership check. Callidus Assassin arrives, vecting the Hive Tyrant, but is Battle Shock. Grandmaster will go after the Exocrine for Bring It Down. Tyranids will overwatch with the Exocrine as it's outside the Vectora, but no joy. Terminators will attempt to finish off the Hive Tyrant. Grandmaster makes its charge into the Exocrine. It will go Super Saiyan here, but is still -1 to hit due to being within the Lictor's aura. Terminators will make their charge into the Winged Hive Tyrant. Terminators give it all they got into the Hive Tyrant and proves enough to bring it down. The Grandmaster swings his Greathammer into the Exocrine, but the Carapace proves to be too much and the Exocrine remains alive. And that is the end of the game, ladies and gentlemen. The Grey Knights will score 2 points for Bring It Down and the full 4 points for Cleanse. They took a secret mission, so will not score for holding an objective, but will score the full 20 points for Shattered Cohesion. This makes the final score 72 to 65 in favor of the Tyranids. Thank you, Thomas, so much for coming out and playing, and thank you all for watching. We really do appreciate it. If you made it this far in the video, please do consider dropping a sub and sharing it with a friend. But until next time, as always, happy gaming.